Hi everyone, my name is Laura Go and I would like to thank you all for coming along today to see my students' presentations. The 60 students here today are all first year planning students in the Bachelor of Planning degree at the University of New South Wales, and they're all in my local planning class. The local planning course is the first time that the students begin to learn and get to practice some of the more practical town planning skills that they will need in the future as planners. And when Linda and Nazia first approached the faculty with this project, it seemed like it would be a perfect fit for my course. The students were invited up by Mosman Council to help develop some new ideas for Spit Junction, and as part of the project they were encouraged to interact with the web pages, blogs and social media sites that Mosman Council had already developed. You might have actually already seen our blog on the People Junction website. As part of the preparations for this assignment, as I mentioned, this is their first chance to practice some of these more practical planning skills. The students were asked to analyse the ABS census data from Mosman to help develop a better understanding of the people that they were planning for. This was the first time in their degree that they needed to work with statistics, and by the end of the course now, they're able to develop graphs and discuss trends, as seen here by Group 5, who were looking at household composition in Mosman. The students had also not undertaken land use surveys or business inventories before, so we had a little practice field trip up to the spot at Randwick to learn how to do land use surveys before we came up to Mosman to do the real thing. Here's a photo of some of the students at Randwick holding up their completed land use surveys. On the 14th of August, the whole class came up here to Mosman. They had a meeting with Mosman Council to confirm the brief for their project and discuss some of the main issues in the area. Nazi actually recorded the students' initial reactions to the project, and there are these great videos up on our blog. I encourage you all to check them out. After the meeting with Mosman Council, we hit the streets of Mosman to undertake a land use survey of Spit Junction. This was really a chance for the students to see what already existed in the area, so they had an idea of what might be needed in Spit Junction. This is an example of one of the land use surveys completed by the students on the day. When we got back to the classroom in the following weeks, each student was asked to analyse their own local shopping centre and post findings in our classroom blog. These posts have basically acted as little case studies for the Spit Junction project to help the students provide the students with information about other local shopping areas and how they operate. This is an example of one of the blog's posts prepared by one of my students looking at the Rouse Hill Town Centre. On Saturday the 1st of September, the students set up a community engagement exercise. Yes, that's right. The students are so dedicated that they did give up their Saturdays to come along to Mosman. So the exercise that we used was actually based on Candy Chang's I Wish This Was project. Candy Chang is an American urban planner who has developed some amazing projects to help communities connect with each other. I encourage you all actually to check out her website, candychang.com, for some more inspirational ideas. So on the day, the students set up 8 little community consultation sites, and you can see them there on the map. And at each site we put some I wish this was text and some balloons and things to help attract people to the different locations. So I've got some images here taken at the end of the day, so you can see that there's some little coloured post-its, and each coloured post-it represents a different person's idea for that particular area. So the students studying the Western Gateway and South Central precincts, they had some photos up of different images of the site, and you can see how many different responses they got on the day. The HARBOUR and VISTA precinct, they were quite innovative in where they put their post-its. They stuck them to a lamppost. The VISTA and CRESCENT precinct students, they put theirs up on a bush actually, which was great because the colour sort of attracted people as they were coming up from the car park on their way to the markets, and they got a lot of responses that way. In the Landmark precinct, you might know this shop actually. It's the one near the Spit Junction bus stop, and so the students had their I Wish This Was sign up, and they got a lot of feedback about this site. They were able to capture a lot of people who were just walking past, either getting off the bus or coming up to the markets. The Northeast Gateway precinct, these students were actually outside the old cinema site, and even though they didn't get a lot of traffic from the market, they were able to really attract people to come and give some feedback about the site because of the colour on the blank wall. And the last group here, the Northwest Gateway and Boronia Precincts group, they were located outside the Bridgepoint Shopping Centre, and so they used the existing fence here to put up their post-its, and they were able to capture people who were walking past and also going in and out of the Bridgepoint Shopping Centre. So when we got back in the classroom, they had to analyse the data and the ideas that were gathered on the day, and then decide what ideas they were going to run with each of their precincts, and that's what they're going to present for you today. I'd just like to say how proud I am of the students. They've managed to accomplish a lot this semester. As I said before, the beginning of the semester they hadn't practiced any of the practical planning skills, and now they can do them all, and they're here to show you the results. Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning everyone, it's very pleasing to see you all made it here today. My name is Hannah and the other members of my group are in the audience today, and they consist of James, Jamie, Frank and Sasha. And today we're here on behalf of the University of New South Wales Planning Undergraduate Program to discuss our plans for the Spit Junction Masterplan, in particular our site, the Western Gateway Precinct. As you can see from the slideshow, the original land use map, after site analysis, consisted of major infrastructure, mainly residential, commercial and mixed-use buildings. So as you can see, this is our site. That's the Toyota dealership, the big commercial. Mixed use is up here. Residential here. After doing this site analysis, we came up with a set of ideas and aims to target our site. As you can see from the red highlighted keywords, activate and improve, provide and create, our aims are specifically designed to incorporate both the needs and wants of the community. Okay, this is our new site plan, a new land use survey. As you can see, as indicated by the yellowish colour, we've kept these developments here. So we've kept the retirement village. However, the old existing Toyota dealership, we've proposed to demolish it and put forward a new idea. We've chosen to do this idea as after community consultation, everyone believes that it should be replaced with small parking area, cafes and restaurants. Okay, this is the old Toyota dealership, and as I said before, there was an overall agreement for more life, light, entertainment, cafes, bars and retail. Opposite the Toyota dealership was the mixed-use infrastructure, namely the Mirror Gallery and the residential apartments upstairs. We decided to make a design for the community to incorporate a museum / art gallery, wine bars, cafes, and a community garden on the top floor. As well as this, the red flags, as indicated on the right-hand side, were used to advertise current events in the area as well as welcome visitors and inform them of what's going on. Finally, one of the other recommendations we chose to provide was a welcoming sign as a friendly gesture to welcome people into the area. All our recommendations were based on community consultation, and yeah, after research, site analysis, this is what our group has put forward for the Spit Junction Masterplan for Precinct 1.
Hi everyone, I represent Group 2 and the other members are Atika, Ray, Anthony, Gary and Ned. We were given the South Central Precinct, which is bordered between Cowles Road and Harbour Street, with Military Road linking its northern boundary. The precinct is roughly 15,000 square metres, with the precinct highlighted here. South Central is currently a mixed-use site comprising of residential apartments and commercial shops. The existing area has seen a decaying appearance, which is affecting its commercial viability, which in turn has resulted in several vacant shops, predominantly on Military Road and in particular the old KFC site, which is located in the northwestern corner of the South Central Precinct. The old KFC site is where we've chosen to complete our development study. The community opinion showed a real desire for more space allocated for children to grow and mature. The area currently has only one play centre, implying the need for a place where children can spend more time outside their school life. The public view also accentuated the need for implementing more green space within the entire area of Spit Junction, as the South Central Precinct at present doesn't provide the public with any green space or adequate green space. Considering the community's opinion and current circumstances of the South Central Precinct, the proposals and recommendations of the South Central Precinct include a community garden with a cafe and child's play centre in order to achieve the desired green space and children's facilities. The Children's Play Centre allows for inside use. This in turn allows the site to be constantly used rather than just during the summer months when it's sunny. We also propose featuring a community garden where the public can become actively involved, particularly the children. Additionally, the implementation of a community garden with the added cafe allows parents and the elderly to socialise and relax while their children play. Similarly, community gardens aim to promote human interaction and healthy lifestyles, two factors associated to a positive standard of living in the modern society. The area itself also is beneficial as the gardens are considered green space, an option suggested by a significant number of Mosman locals. A community garden was another feature that the Mosman community was eager to implement into Spit Junction, with 17 individuals directly proposing that idea. Due to the lack of green space and open area within Spit Junction, the recommendations will be a viable option for the master plan site. With such a significant number of locals desiring both green space and open space within the South Central Precinct, the implementation of a local garden would aid the community's approval of and a positive response to Council's concepts. The community itself has taken into consideration a small number of child facilities in Mosman and has specifically recommended centres to be built focusing towards childcare. Social factors have also been taken into account for both children and their parents with the stated proposal. By creating an environment that allows children to converse with each other, this will lead to greater communication skills within the future. The proposed idea has both economic and social benefits for the idea within the Children's Play Centre. It was suggested by 17 individuals in the Mosman community that a cafe be placed on the location of the vacated KFC site. The suggestion was the second highest voted proposal for the area, which led to a consideration of how to implement the coffee shop with the community garden and also a child's play care centre. The correlation between the three uses could have an immediate positive impact upon Spit Junction Masterplan. Initial thoughts led to the cafe being an area for parents to enjoy their meals, but also allow their kids to have fun in a safe environment. The community garden can also contribute to the cafe through the use of specific fruits and vegetables grown in the adjoining garden. To customers, this will create a sense of eating fresh and organic foods, which would be a healthier alternative to competitor cafes. Thus, the focus of providing a cafe is not solely to provide another area for meals, but also to allow for associations to the other connected proposals. We propose that the vacant lot be located on the South Central Precinct of Mosman Spit Junction should be created into a multi-purpose area consisting of a community garden, child's play centre and cafe, all suggestions that can contribute to not only a greater community, but consider a modern approach to society today. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Connor and this is Liz. Other members of our group were Peter, Amanda and Ivan. We're Group C. We're doing the Harbour and VISTA precinct, which is also precinct 3 under the Mosman Master Plan. Currently this area is zoned mixed use, so the front consists of commercial use, only having shop fronts, while the back is residential with a substation at the very back of the land. This site is probably best known for the Fitness First out the front on the front. So some of the issues that we encountered when we were conducting site analysis and looking at redeveloping the site was the substation at the back. Obviously we can't move it, we tried to work around it, tried to look at what we could do, maybe improve the pathway and stuff like that. The congestion and lack of parking around the site. So we looked at, when we talked to residents, we looked at if there's anything we can do to move parking, increase roads, get people back to that area. And also we looked at the small laneway adjacent to the site. This laneway is pretty much known for the coffee shops, and on Saturday when we did the site visit, this laneway was extremely popular. Many residents sitting down, but there was no one really around our site. So we looked at ways of trying to bring people back to our site. These are all outlined in the recommendations, which Liz is about to go through now.
Okay, so after completing the community consultation phase with a number of the residents that attended the market day, our group compiled and made a variety of recommendations, which I will reveal to you now. There are a number of minor and major recommendations to the Harbour and Vista precinct, in which we believe will strongly benefit the area and the area of Mossman and its people. So firstly, the complete redesign of the Mossman Bridge, which just kind of overhangs the road, and the commercial and residential building area to provide a more aesthetically pleasing streetscape and a more contemporary look to the site. On the market day, we got a lot of people saying that they were happy with what was at the site presently. However, they thought this part here could do with kind of a facelift. Secondly, and this a bit more of a major idea, would be to move the community pool, which is quite a small pool centre, to the top level of the site, so it could be expanded, and in its place where it is now, we would instead put green grocer and health food stores, which would complement the Fitness First nearby. This is in response to a number of community members wanting health food stores and organic grocers in this precinct. Over 80% of the comments received from the community consultation process implicated the importance of health food stores and the need for these to complement the Fitness First, whether it be an organic grocer, a nutrient store, or simply a new cafe or juice bar. Thirdly, the transformation of the laneway between the two roads is currently unused, and we don't think this is useful. As a result of this, a number of changes could be made to maximise the use of the pedestrian laneway. One of the few ways to improve this area is the creation and placement of maybe bike racks to offer another area to park bikes to the centre of this area. Another issue is the degraded look of the industrial area looking onto the laneway, and so a way of overcoming this might be implementing a number of small shrubs and possibly hedges to filter the space and offer a more safe environment. And this could be complemented by the erection of light posts to increase safety at night and the placement of benches to escape the busy shopping area which surrounds it.
Hi everyone, firstly I'd like to introduce my team members here. We have V, Sean, and in the audience we have Thomas and Simon. Our designated precinct was the VISTA and CRESCENT precinct, and we've specifically decided to redevelop one specific area, which is the community green village, and they will explain this.
The VISTA and CRESCENT precinct, known as Precinct 4 for us, is located on the southern side of the Military Road, bound by the VISTA Street, the Crescent and Albion Lane. This precinct includes the Civic Centre and the Council, and these are immense areas and central parts of the master plan. And it is usually under good maintenance, so as a result, we couldn't really have much improvement. However, as a result, we pinpointed to only look at the redevelopment of the village green and hope to attract a large range of ages and people to the area. There are a number of tasks carried out throughout this project, and these include our initial reaction to the brief, our background research, our site visits, as well as our local centre comparison studies. We also did community consultation, in which we adopted Candy Chang's I Wish This Was project to come up with our recommendations for the site. Sean will now talk you through our ideas for the recommendations.
As a result of our research and recommendations, we decided to propose a children's playground, a barbecue, benches and community gardens for our development. The reason being is because as a result of our other options with the tennis, we decided for our other options with tennis courts, outdoor gym and a fountain, we believe our development is the most inclusive option, as there's a wide range with a diverse community. all our facilities can be utilised by some members of the community one way or another. With the children's playground, we believe that children need necessary physical activity, and as a result, we decided to incorporate that as the central facility for our development. And with benches, barbecues and a community garden, all these facilities can complement one another, especially in the case of benches and barbecues. This can promote family gatherings and whatnot. And as a result, we decided with the barbecues, and especially with vacant space, this can enhance this community gathering. With the community gardens, we believe this will create a welcoming environment for everyone who wants to use this space. And also with the incorporation of tall trees in our garden, we believe this can provide the necessary cooling and shading, especially on sunny days. And in relation to our benches, we believe as well that everyone needs somewhere to sit down and relax and enjoy this space. And especially in the case of with parents and stuff who've got children in the playgrounds, and with also in consideration of pregnant mothers, we believe that's a necessary duty of care to incorporate into our design.
Alright, good morning everybody. We're doing the same thing that they've just presented. We're doing the VISTA and CRESCENT precinct, which is where we are now, up to VISTA Street up there and down by Military Road. Our group was made up of Anna, Kate, Jason, Rocky and Kevin, who's going to speak about in the second half about recreational activities. First of all, through our community engagement exercise, we found out that the community wanted two main things from this area. They wanted parking and they wanted green space. So I'll speak about parking. We understand the need for development in this area, and so we've incorporated a mixed-use development, a large one, which would go in the current place of the car park. And underneath this would be a large car parking facility to incorporate the parking needs of the residents. The mixed-use part will involve the ground floor, including things like retail, affordable shopping and a cafe overlooking the green space, which will be here. Yes, I'll pass to Kevin to speak about the second part.
Thank you, Nick. So apart from parking solutions and development, another significant finding within the VISTA and CRESCENT precinct that we found from the local area was that there was a huge interest towards integrating recreational and entertainment facilities within the area. So in particular, the most requested features by the local residents was that more components such as playground equipment, social facilities, landscape features and social events such as painting and yoga classes and outdoor cinemas, in addition to more open space, be incorporated within the surrounding area. Our recommendation to this response from the community was that through combining all these features and many more within one area, particularly around the village green located behind Mosman Council, therefore making it a type of recreational use zone, that we are able to cater to all these different needs. The addition of landscape features such as trees, flower and vegetable gardens, in addition to play and sports equipment, and even events and classes within the space, will help complement and revitalize the area, as you can see in the poster. This therefore will help encourage the use of the area by both the younger and older demographic of Mosman by creating a more relevant and engaging space while still maintaining and conserving the outdoor public area and its qualities that the community loves, helping develop a stronger sense of community and belonging within the local area. So pretty much overall, through integrating and implementing the use of underground parking, mixed-use development, recreational space within the local area of Mosman, we will not only be able to cater to the many needs of the community, but will also help revitalize the local area while still maintaining the current qualities that are beloved by the community. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning. Luke and I represent Group 5. We looked at the landmark precinct for our study of the Spit Junction Masterplan. Based on our research, we have formed some recommendations for the redevelopment and revitalisation of Spit Junction. So, this is our precinct here. Oh, it doesn't work, but this area here. It's mostly a mix of R3 residential and B2 local centre, much like the other zone, the precincts in the area. The commercial spaces line Military Road and Spit Road, and residential lots are along Horsnell Lane. So one of the most pressing issues in our precinct is the high number of vacant lots. For all of the businesses here, there are actually 5 vacant shops, and it's not a particularly large precinct, so that is quite a lot. So we gained an understanding of what the Mosman community would like to see in these vacant lots from the I Wish This Was market stall. So spaces for children and communities were particularly strong responses. Based on our understanding of vacancy and the data we collected from the I Wish This Was stall, we developed our recommendations. So, like I said, there were quite a lot for community spaces and children. So, our first suggestion is to use landscaping to both enhance the pedestrian atmosphere and create a community space in the area. The areas along Military Road and Spit Road can become very congested and bus stops tend to dominate the footpath space. This leads to a lessened atmosphere for the pedestrians. So street trees and garden beds should be placed as a barrier between vehicular and pedestrian activity. Raised flower beds with contained shrubbery will provide an effective screen between the road traffic and foot traffic without unduly affecting the space or the safety of the pedestrian. This will increase the stop and shop atmosphere of the precinct and boost the small business economy in the area. As seen in our business inventory, there is quite an issue with vacancy, so any kind of boost to that economy I'm sure would be useful. This will also relate to the construction of the landmark building, which is an idea that's already been proposed by JBA. So we suggest that the setting of this building is actually set back a little bit further than is currently intended to allow for landscaping and the widening of the footpath to accommodate all these garden beds that we're suggesting. So this action will significantly enhance the urban form of the area. And as you can see from these couple of quotes that we got from some social media, there's an issue that some of the community feel like they don't want any development to take away from the village atmosphere of the Mosman area. So landscaping would be of great benefit to that. And I'll just pass it on to Luke.
So another main recommendation we had was to emphasise the public transport in Mosman, seeing as buses account for 20% of modes of transport, which is followed by cars, which in most suburbs would be the main one. So there are currently 3 sort of bus stops around our precinct, one on Spit Road, one on Military Road, and another on Clifford Street over on the right side. We propose to relocate probably the Spit Road just because it's so close to the intersection from Military and Spit Road, which is already a highly congested area. So you can see that the buses need to stop on the left turning bay of that street, which backs up traffic, especially in the more busier parts of the day. So another sort of thing that we wanted to do was maybe incorporate a parking bay for the buses to stop in so they don't actually conflict with oncoming traffic and stuff like that. So, and there's just another suggestion was to maybe relocate a big parking bay onto the Clifford Street, just because it is such a wide road and it's only a 2-lane street as well. So you could probably do something really effective there, like incorporate maybe a ticket office, because there aren't many places to get tickets in that sort of area. So a lot of concerns in the public was the low visibility of cars turning from Clifford Street onto Spit Road. Because of the buses stopping, you can't really see oncoming traffic, so that's a bit of a hazard. As well as that comes from Don Adams' Coffee House, which is on that precinct as well, so he'd know a lot. So another recommendation was to emphasise sort of market gardens and a lot of community space. This is the October 2012 events calendar for Mosman. You can see it's pretty jam-packed already, and there are a lot of community events going on around the town. So weekend first Mosman on the village and market, you can see how many people do come for these sorts of events. So it would be a pretty big opportunity for Mosman to sort of create more spaces so people are more attracted and more willing to come to Mosman. So with the landmark building that's proposed, what we thought maybe was to kind of incorporate a rooftop garden, something sort of space on that building to sort of hold like night cinemas, sort of hangout spaces, cafes, bars for younger people to come, and just to attract more youth into Mosman. So yeah, so small bars to attract younger demographic and provide capacity for market gardens. So there are also just a few quotes from the community on their concern with the lack of space. So Rosemary Moon points out that the village green has been ruined and that the place was for a community congregation and it's not really a space for that anymore. So yeah, and also just showing like how Section 94 contributions are being used in Mosman, just so
So the community actually knows what the council's doing with their money. So, thank you.
Hi, we're Group 6. We did Precinct 6, which is the Northeast Gateway Precinct. I'm Tim, this is Jordan, and in our group is Ian, Marie, David, Charlene, and Jordan. We did the Northeast Gateway Precinct, which is defined basically by the Greater Union Cinema site. There are residential apartment blocks and a retirement village there as well. But the Greater Union Cinema site was the focus of our presentation because it does provide a landmark site, and it's also pretty unique in that it's very central to Mossman, but it's also vacant at the moment. Our I Wish This Was program found that there were 3 main objections that people had to what was in their current area at the moment. The main one was congestion. They found that, first of all, it was very hard to catch a bus from where they were, and second, that it was hard to find a park so they could catch a bus. We found that people didn't like the fact that the buses, as was mentioned by Luke and Audrey in the last presentation, blocked off the left lane, and we found that they would prefer to have somewhere that was a nice place to either wait for a bus or get on a bus for that matter. They also found that being not so far away, but it was difficult to access the Spit Junction town centre. When you've got a road like Spit Road and then Military Road, that corridor, it does have an effect to split the town centre as such into kind of 2 areas. And the fact that Clifford Road, which runs off the side just before the actual cinema, is also very wide, meant that people found it very difficult to physically access the main town centre. And the last one, also people found that a lack of outdoor space was an issue. In terms of our analysis, we found that many people wanted transport and very broad things, but parks was one very specific option which a lot of people focused on. A lot of people wanted parks and outdoor spaces. Our research also showed that people want things which were good and useful, as opposed to things which were new or modern. They wanted things which would actually benefit the community as a whole, and specifically they wanted things which would benefit either the elderly or the youth. There was a lot of very specific comments in that sort of regard. And now, so Jordan will show you as what our presentation will actually.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. All right, with our recommendations, it can be sort of broken down into 2 components. We've got a bus interchange and an apartment block and green space. And yeah, I don't know, you probably can't see these pictures here. You can have a look at them later after the presentation. But anyway, for the bus interchange, we moved the Greater Union, the old Greater Union site, as it's currently vacant, and it's a bit of an eyesore, as were some of the residents during their community consultation. So we built the bus interchange, and that would come in off Spit Road and pull into where the Greater Union site is. We'd moved the bus stop that is on Spit Road near Military Road back approximately 80 metres along Spit Road to near Clifford Street, and we realised that this would probably allow better throughfare along and pedestrian access along the footpath there, as it seems to get pretty congested as we found. The bus lane will be, the bus interchange will be 2 lanes, similar to the one on Falcon Street in Neutral Bay, and it will divide the flow of traffic, the flow of traffic of buses into either, it could be city bound or Chatswood bound, or express and all stops. With the bus interchange will get all the buses off the road during the loading and unloading process, and this will help the flow of traffic, especially cars turning left onto Military Road. With the upgraded bus interchange, we put in traffic signals as well, which will allow buses to have priority, and it will also put in a signalled pedestrian crossing, which we found is probably needed, especially because of all the elderly residents in the retirement village on the corner of Punch Road and Spit Road. And in the draft New South Wales Long-Term Transport Master Plan, it says that interchange facilities should facilitate for the ease of travel, improve the customer experience, and add value to the amenities in the neighbourhood. And we think that we satisfy all these criteria. As for the apartment blocks, we'd have 3 stories, and they consist of mainly 1 to 2 bedroom apartments, and we found that these would probably offset the cost for the bus interchange. The apartment blocks will be mixed use, so there'll be shop fronts down the bottom. There is currently an accounting firm located in the Great Indian site, so they could be moved to within these shops under the apartment blocks. There'd also be green space for the community to get that sort of sense of, they're not in a high density sort of area. And we'd also put in a car park underneath the green space, the bus interchange and the apartment blocks for residents and for commuters. And that's it.
Hi guys, welcome, thank you for coming, council members. My name is Isaac Toledano, this is Bernard Malouf. We're from Group 7A and we're representing the Northwest Gateway Precinct. That's the Bridgepoint Centre, which is actually the entrance to the shopping centre. So firstly, I'd like to talk about the heritage. People felt that the buildings in the general area did not sympathise with the current developments that were around. So as a result, we have some recommendations for that. We would like to, for example, have more regulations and allow for developments to be more heritage sympathetic, for example, and have the same kind of structures and developments and things like that. And another one is the nightlife. A lot of people complained that the nightlife in Mosman wasn't actually vibrant enough, and considering the demographic, it was kind of difficult to kind of figure out what we could do, but what we could do is have small bars and pubs, quiet pubs. You could rent them out for functions, have a theatre perhaps, maybe a small time zone for the younger kids, like an arcade of some form. And also, a lot of people complained that the entrance to Bridgepoint didn't really make any sense with the surrounding infrastructure, the one just next to Nando's and the OPSM. So, as a result, to fix that, we could perhaps redevelop it to bring it closer to the street, which would therefore give more space for other developments and more buildings, such as maybe new pubs, which would then sympathise with the area. And, yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to take over now, and pretty much we found from our research that a lot of people found that this little spot here, 1 to 2 Brady Street, did not really fit in with the area, and they found that it wasn't very good looking either. So we decided that putting in a lift into this area would connect it with the walkway on top, also make it disabled friendly and incorporate that with the mall as well. We also thought that setting it back and putting in a couple of niche shops, particularly organic grocers, were identified as being the type of shops that people wanted, as well as childcare centres and boulevard style open cafes. As far as accessibility is concerned, we found that the whole area could be more accessible for disabled people, families with prams, and also pets. 62% of the population of Mosman have got pets, and it's been identified that they would like to have a place to tie them up, they'd like to have a place to feed them, have water access and such, and apparently that's what the people want. Finally, the largest issue that we found from our research was parking. As there's a large amount of congestion, a lot of business owners feel that not enough people have access to their shops, and we felt that if we could make the 2-hour parking limit a 3-hour parking limit, this could promote a more stop and shop style of area, and that it would promote the local businesses' economies a lot better than it currently is. And we propose that we make the parking area right next to Bridgepoint larger to incorporate more parking spaces, as well as the Civic Centre car park to somehow just get more people in the area and promote the local business economy. Thank you.
So good morning everyone, we're Group 7B. I'm Narelle, Cynthia, Jason, Hugh, Cammy and Gareth, and we also did the Northwest Gateway Precinct, which includes the Bridgepoint Shopping Centre, a variety of retail and shops along Spit Road and Military Road,
and some residential uses and community uses as well. So basically from our research and from our various methods that we did and results, we formed a few main goals, and they are the promotion of social interaction and connectivity, the facilitation of physical activity, the promotion of community and green space, and the assistance of safety and the improvement of access and the retainment of commercial use within the area. These goals we made sure that we adhered to throughout our recommendations, and our recommendations focused on 5 main points, which are the refurbishment of the Bridgepoint Shopping Centre, Horton Place Laneway, the children's playground and green space proposed, to facilitate active transport options and to increase the accessibility and functionality of the Spit Junction Bridge. I'd now like to pass it on to Hugh.
So we thought our main focal point of the precinct was the Bridgepoint Shopping Centre, and the local opinion on the precinct was it needs a refurbishment. Clearly the front is very weathered, very old, and it was just not attractive at all. The community also wanted to improve the accessibility and also enhance its functionality as a focal point for the precinct. The refurbishment that most people wanted was one with a distinctive character, which created a sense of place, which they thought the area was lacking. And this was achieved through an appealing heritage-styled exterior, however with a modern interior. And this must be sympathetic to the surrounding buildings that exist already. The interior of the shopping centre would create a warm feel for all shoppers who would come. And it was seen as vital that the future refurbishment of Bridgepoint concentrates on making the area as a third place for the local community by accommodating increased areas of incidental interactions and leisure centres such as eateries, benches and cafes. The future refurbishment must also ensure that accessibility to all people, especially those with disabilities, be enabled through the use of ramps, elevators, escalators and open areas. And that was the refurbishment there, and that's all the main points that I covered. I'll pass you on now.
Our second recommendation was focusing on the Horton Place Laneway, which runs parallel to Bridgepoint, as Hugh just discussed. Our recommendation for this is to turn it into a prominent alfresco style pedestrian alleyway. So currently, Horton Place Laneway, it sort of detracts from the Northwest Gateway Precinct area due to its limited aesthetic appeal, its partial lighting and its restricted use and safety concerns due to the high level of truck traffic. By turning into alfresco styled laneway, it offers the potential to give Mossman and the Spit Junction area a unique character and identity, which it has at the moment, but it would just give it a boost. Especially, this will especially be achieved if it incorporates the heritage style design, which is associated with the Mossman area. Such laneways have been proven to be extremely successful in areas in Melbourne, as you can see by HARBOUR Lane in Melbourne. This is due to the fact that it provides a distinctive sense of place and it cultivates connected communities. I believe this will be significantly important for Mossman due to the fact of its high proportion of elderly. These people often lack the social interaction they desire and a sense of belonging, and this laneway as a third place will help to achieve that for the elderly.
Cool, so still in the Horton Place Laneway, but another one of our goals was to promote green spaces and those community open areas. So we recommended that the new pedestrian Horton Place Laneway incorporate a small community garden and children's playground as well in those yellow spaces. It will enable parents to enjoy the cafe and alfresco experience whilst providing entertainment for their children. It will also provide valuable green space whilst promoting use of the newly designed pedestrian alleyway for local families. so there it is there. And just the promotion of open spaces, physical activity, we feel that that's a really important thing in the community. Okay.
In order to reduce the traffic problem in Spit Junction, and also facilitate the healthy lifestyle, we recommend that creation of bike path and a bike rack is necessary to implement in popular areas such as Bridgepoint Shopping Center. So also in order to do that, we can limit the street parking on Brady Street and increase the lighting in cycle pathway and as well as the walking pathway, so people will feel more safety about that. Thank you.
Okay. So after doing some consultation with the community, one of the major concerns that we found was that the sort of inaccessibility and also the inconvenience to cross the Spit Road. Sometimes it's unsafe, particularly to the elderly people and to the young children. We have this Spit Junction footbridge over here in the area, but some people are discouraged to use it because of its unwelcoming nature, and sometimes it's inaccessible, for example, to less mobile pedestrians if they want to access the bridge. So what we recommend to do, just to enhance the accessibility of the bridge, is to install the ramp and an elevator in the bridge, and also to incorporate design features to make it more appealing on both the inside and the outside. And to also improve the lighting so that the pedestrians will feel more safe when they use the bridge. And also there was another problem arising from the high level of traffic in the area, was that people, they feel sort of a bit intimidated or unsafe to walk along the Spit Road because of the relatively sort of narrow pedestrian path along the road. And when you consider the businesses over there, such as the chemist, pharmacy, the dental clinic and the news agency, we would assume that a lot of people would use the pathway on Spit Road to access these essential services. But really the high level of traffic would just greatly reduce the safety for the pedestrians. So what we recommend to do is that we should put fences along Spit Road just to act as a safety barrier to the incoming direction of traffic, and to also, we would recommend to install some more plants just to make it more appealing to walking, and to also to prevent that that direct confrontation of adjacent vehicles and noises. So, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We are Group 8, and we're going to present on the wonderful Boronia precinct. We have actively engaged the community and used their ideas to incorporate into our design. Our team consists of Elise, Alan, Matt, Ingrid and Trinton, and I'll now hand it over to Elise.
Okay, so we're focused mostly on Reservoir Park because that's what the community, when we talked to them, that's what they were most interested in, and that's what they gave us the most feedback about. So our first proposal for Reservoir Park was the inclusion of a community garden, which would be run in incorporation with the local schools, so they can learn about organic foods and nature and all that sort of lessons. It would bring the community together, and you could also run community programs such as planting days to get it started, and this would bring the community together. Also within Reservoir Park, we proposed the inclusion of a coffee cart, which would be a transportable service so it has minimal effects on the surrounding environment, because when we talked to the community, there was a lot of interest for restaurants and cafes. However, it wouldn't be viable for the space, and also could have a degrading effect on the parklands. So So we thought a coffee cart would have a minimal effect as well as being small in size. We also proposed the inclusion of a children's playground within Reservoir Park. It would have to be kind of small in size, however it would allow for children to utilise the park rather than just walking past the park. We proposed for it to be at the front, so it would encourage natural surveillance so that community members did feel a sense of safety when using the park. Now Alan will talk to you.
Hey guys, so the issue I found about my area through interviewing local residents was that many talked about the lack of appealing open space and the lack of development that acts like a gateway in introducing the identity of Boronia Precinct. So the aim of my recommendation is to exuberate the ambience of the heritage value of Boronia House, particularly its position on busy Military Road, and also transform Boronia Precinct into a more celebrated local icon, while connecting more well-designed open space to the community. In order to achieve this, what I recommend is to redevelop the Crystal Car Wash Cafe and the residential flat 89/A into a more extensive urban green space and integrating them with Boronia House and Reservoir Park. This will encompass the aforementioned activities and revitalize the precinct into a more sociable, cultural, local identity. So I'll let Robert speak about his recommendation about Brady Street.
Okay, so Brady Street. Many of the community raised issues about maintenance of footpathing and some telegraph poles leaning. So we're thinking of just quick upgrade of that and sort of where the crossing is on Brady Street, putting some bright lights over it so it encourages people to come towards the Boronia Precinct and utilise the new park reservoir regarding any time of the day. So I'll now pass it over to Matt.
I'm just going to give a brief overview of the walkways throughout the area. One of our ideas was potentially extending Boronia Laneway from Brady Street through to Reservoir Park, which will create dual access to the park and hopefully attract people to walk through it instead of around it. In doing this, we want to make the laneway a public art space, which will hopefully attract young up-and-coming artists and add to the vibrancy throughout the area. If the development does go along, we will want gates and lighting just to reduce the crime and violence and vandalism throughout the area. And we also want to upgrade the roads from gravel to smooth pavement to increase the accessibility for the elderly.
I'm just going to talk about heritage signs. As Alan already stated, heritage is really important in Boronia. As you can see, there's Boronia House and the residential homes at the back of the blocks. What we want to do is put heritage signs to just give a brief history of those sites to more involve the community in their own heritage of the area. This is mainly because the heritage items are so important and they really make Boronia Precinct what it is today. Yeah. And we've mainly got all this from the community, all their information, and yeah. Thanks.
So reconnecting culture with the community.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.